Every once in a while, in every sport, there's an athlete that gets plopped into their respective league and just goes out there and dominates. Doesn't matter if there are rule changes to make the competition closer than ever, there are always a select few players that rewrite the record books. Now, compared to motorsports, especially NASCAR, there's a scenario playing out right in front of us fans. While there is no shortage of up-and-coming talents through the ranks, they are starting to become younger. Like, way younger. Long ago, drivers would take much more time in their rise through the ranks, not getting an opportunity in the top division until your mid to late 20s, sometimes your early 30s. Many car owners believe that driving race cars is more of an earned skill that could only be crafted by just turning laps and gaining experience, rather than just being a raw talent. But then somewhere along the line, a young hotshot from Pittsboro, Indiana began tearing up the NASCAR Cup Series. And that man was Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon.
When Jeff Gordon started his first full-time season, he was only 21 years old. Absolutely unheard of for a driver of his age to race in NASCAR's top division. But somehow, he became one of the most dominant drivers ever. Before Jeff had even turned 30, he had won an inconceivable 4 championships and 58 races. And just like that, the entry age into the Cup Series has gotten lower and lower since. This also applies with the generational talents as well. As early as the mid-2000s, drivers like Kyle Busch and Joey Logano were entering NASCAR when they were just teenagers, something that would have broken the brains of NASCAR fans just 15 years ago. And now we may be starting to extend that limit even further. When this almost kid was still barely a legal adult, he was tearing up Trans Am, MX-5s, and won the 24 Hours of Daytona in the LMP2 class, and absolutely demolished the NASCAR O'Reilly Series. Hailing from North Carolina, let me introduce you to one Connor Jackson Zilisch, NASCAR's newest rising talent. So why does he suck so much right now? Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty details of what and why has made this season so bad, we need to take a look at Connor's rise through the ranks of NASCAR. In 2024, Connor Zilisch was running all over the place. He would run one ARCA West start at Phoenix, which he would win. Then he ran a full ARCA East season, winning 4 races but barely losing out on the championship to William Sawalich. Also, he would run a part-time schedule in the main ARCA series, running only 8 of the 20 races, but winning 5 of them and finishing 15th in points. He would also run 5 races in the Craftsman Truck Series, his first taste of national NASCAR. He would make a huge impression in his debut at the Circuit of the Americas by qualifying on the pole. However, in his very first corner in NASCAR, the young gun would immediately get humbled.
Up 13 stories into turn 1, they lock him up all over the place.
Despite the slip-up, Zilisch would still be the fastest truck by far, making a total of 55 green flag passes through the field to finish in 4th place. However, despite getting another pole at Bristol, that would really be it for his success in the Truck Series. Despite running 5 more starts, Connor would only get a best finish of 12th at Martinsville after the trip to Austin. But we're not quite done yet. Later in the year, Connor Zilisch would get to run a few starts for Junior Motorsports in the then named NASCAR Xfinity Series. And unlike his truck starts, he would make the best possible impression.
The 18-year-old Connor Zilisch is going to win in his first start at the Glen.
Let's go! Thank you guys, thank you!
Man, I don't even have words. I worked so hard for this one. I've been working for this one for months, and it's so special to me, man.
In his first start in what is effectively the AAA series of NASCAR, Connor Zilisch would win at Watkins Glen on debut, joining an exclusive list of drivers to win their first race in the now named O'Reilly Series. And unlike his truck starts, he would have a stellar performance in his final 3 races, with the 4th place at Kansas, 12th at Homestead, and another 4th place to round out the season at Phoenix. Despite all of the hopping from cars and trucks, car owner Dale Jr. signed Connor Zilisch to run the 88 for Junior Motorsports full-time in the Xfinity Series in 2025. Finally, after a bunch of jumping around NASCAR, Connor was primarily able to focus on one series in championship caliber equipment, except for a few starts in Cup with Trackhouse Racing with some iffy results. Well, 2025 was a weird year for Connor Zilisch. On the good side, he won a lot.
Connor Zilisch. 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 Connor Zilisch is a phenom.
10 wins, 20 top 5s, 23 top 10s, 8 poles, an average start of 6.8, and an average finish of 8.0. Being now just barely over 19 years old, Connor Zilisch had one of the greatest O'Reilly seasons ever. Did I also forget to mention that Connor missed a race due to a back injury suffered at Talladega, broke his collarbone in Victory Lane at Watkins Glen, and also only ran part of the Daytona Summer Race with Parker Kligerman filling in and winning on his behalf. Naturally, teams were eyeing him up, and with it being announced in 2026, he would drive full-time for Trackhouse Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series.
And I never thought I would make it anywhere in racing. And sorry.
With his incredible season, Zilisch was able to lock up the title one race early due to having such a massive advantage over the rest of the field. Is what I would say if NASCAR didn't have the worst championship format in sports history. Despite being way better than his competition, Connor Zilisch was forced into a winner-take-all championship against 3 other drivers. Despite all of his hard work, if one of these 3 drivers could just finish ahead of Connor, all of his hard work was for naught. And unfortunately, we got the worst possible ending.
Jesse Love inside of Connor Zilisch. Zilisch hanging in that outside lane, but Love able to slide up in front of his best friend and take the top spot. He now controls the way to a championship. 20 years old from California, Jesse Love wins at Phoenix, and he is the 2025 Xfinity Series champion.
After losing a championship in the most unfair way possible, Connor got out of his car, sat down next to it, and cried. Well, with that out of the way, it's time to enter the 2026 season, Connor Zilisch's rookie season in the NASCAR Cup Series. And the stage could not have been any bigger to start off. Like every season since 1982, the 78th season of the NASCAR Cup Series kicked off in Daytona Beach, Florida for the 68th running of the Daytona 500. But with the addition of one Connor Zilisch, he has put in potentially the only opportunity ever at this record, becoming the first ever teenager to win the Daytona 500. Through the first part of the race, he rides easy mid-pack, but on lap 85, he briefly leads for 3 seconds, but his inexperience immediately shows not even half a mile later.
Right there in the middle is the 19-year-old, first teenage racer in the Daytona 500. Oh, trouble! Around goes Briscoe, Zilisch, Ty Gibbs.
Austin Dillon, big hit into the side of Briscoe. You saw those cars dancing around. We talked about Chastain.
Well, that sucked. The next race at Atlanta would be a bit of an improvement for Connor, consistently running in the top 10 for most of the day. As the race winds down in the final stages, Zilisch has put himself in a spot to get a great finish and potentially win in his 5th career start if the cards can fall right. But ironically enough, one of the most experienced drivers in the field, Denny Hamlin, proves that no matter how many starts and wins you have in the bank, mistakes are bound to happen.
Oh!
Denny Hamlin.
Got on into Hamlin. Hamlin goes around, collects Byron.
It's a bunch of them, boys.
Good grief.
Connor gets caught up in another wreck at a super speedway. Luckily, we won't visit those for a little while. And even more luckily, Zilisch gets to go to a style of racetrack that is his bread and butter: road courses. In 2025, 5 of 10 of Connor Zilisch's O'Reilly wins came on road courses, which was 5 of 7 road courses on the year. So going into COTA, everyone was excited to see what he could do.
You got to be careful down on that very far inside because it can be really rough.
Zilisch is around.
Wrecker behind you, keep digging for your white move.
That's unfortunate, but fortunately there is a lot of racing left, And coming to a late race restart with 17 to go, Connor crawls his way all the way back up to 4th with a real shot at victory. All right, Connor, show us what you got.
Van Gisbergen looking really low. And Reddick covers the bottom. 2 cars spin. Zane Smith has spun. Connor Zilisch again.
Despite another incident, Zilisch would recover to finish in 14th place. Now, I do want you to remember this 14th place finish, because this would be the best finish for Connor Zilisch for a long time. Race 4 takes us to the west coast of Phoenix Raceway, where honestly, nothing really happened to Connor. He ran in the bottom 20s until his tire gave way at lap 99 and would eventually retire with a suspension failure in 29th. Then we stayed in the west to race in Las Vegas, where again, Silly Zilly was very slow. It seems to be another tough finish for the 88 crew until we get to late race green flag pit stops. As we saw last year, drivers seem to have trouble getting onto pit road here. Last year it was Ty Dillon, and this year it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. who has pit road entry misfortunes. Just like how William Byron was caught off guard last year, the same fate befalls Connor Zilisch.
We've got a car around off the floor.
That's Zilisch. I believe that's Connor Zilisch who's around.
Caution!
What happened here to Connor Zilisch?
This has been awful so far, but luckily Darlington was a race finally easy on Zilisch. Despite kinda sorta dumping Riley Herbst, he still finishes 18th with no trouble. Then we roll into Martinsville, the shortest and smallest track in all of NASCAR. We are back on the struggle bus, sadly. Connor is just slow, running in the low 20s all day. But with a few cautions later, Zilisch has the chance to regain some of these spots. Remember what I said about Martinsville, how it's the shortest and smallest track in NASCAR? Well, we're about to learn that one person's problem here very quickly becomes everyone else's problem.
But I wouldn't. Oh, we got a
Trouble. And
Big
Ross
break.
Chastain got a huge break with the caution coming out and the lead.
Bristol is next up on the chopping block. Connor runs in the mid-20s all day, fighting on and off the lead lap. But he faded late to about 29th before he crashed, finishing 33rd, 31 laps down. Kansas was another weekend to forget. No bad crashes happened, nobody cleaning him out. Connor was just off that day, and honestly the rest of Trackhouse was, as all their drivers finished woefully bad. But in this case, Connor would finish 29th, 2 laps down. We have now reached the 1/4 mark of this season, and at this point, Connor Zilisch is 33rd in points, only outrunning 3 full-time drivers. Cole Custer, a driver stuck in Haas factory team tractors, Cody Ware, who doesn't even really count since he always has run last, and Alex Bowman.
I love you, Alex Bowman!
Who's only this far behind because he's missed 4 races due to having vertigo, and he's only 39 points behind Connor Zilisch within a full race. But luckily, next weekend is an opportunity for Connor to turn his season around, and this magical place is Talladega. After a bunch of strategy shenanigans, Connor Zilisch finds himself up at the front, and if he can play his cards correctly, he can get a great finish and turn his season around.
Through turns 1 and 2 and all the way down the back. Thrown away and Wallace is in the wall right after contact.
Right in front of the pack. Blaney's around. Logano's around. They're all wrecking. This is the big one. That's the whole field.
4 cars were in front of that crash. 1 car, McDowell, was behind it.
I mean, there's only 4 cars that are not in this crash.
It's a parking lot down here.
This is getting ridiculous. But we moved to Texas for race 10 on the season, and for the first race all season, Connor is solid. He doesn't run into any trouble. He's just mid, which for this team at this point feels like a top 5. But in reality, on the score sheet, it's a 16th place finish. Once again, we are back at Connor Zilisch's wheelhouse, road courses. This time we are in upstate New York at Watkins Glen International. For the first time all season, Connor is a consistent front-running car and has the opportunity to win. As we get into the latter stage of this race, it's clear that Zilisch, Ty Gibbs, and teammate Shane Van Gisbergen are the contenders for the race win. But at lap 60, everything gets shaken up. Joey Logano's tire carcass falls off on the backstretch, bringing out a debris caution. As for the leaders, Connor and Ty decided to pit, while Shane stayed out and pitted on lap 76. It seems like his strategy is going to fail as he has to make up over 20 seconds in 24 laps. But meanwhile, Gibbs and Zilisch duke it out for the win.
Whoa, side by side, and almost Zilisch almost caught the guardrail entering the inner loop.
But somehow, someway, Shane Van Gisbergen does his normal and becomes a road course god. Connor's used up all of his stuff on Ty and he just can't defend SVG. Oh well, at least you'll be able to get your first top 5 and top 10. Just bring it home.
With the way that they pitted, but man, has it worked out.
Whoa. He's got a right front down. Told you. He's done.
Oh my gosh, it has happened again. Connor Zilisch is not allowed to have anything nice in the Cup Series. It's the equivalent of this series being a fraternity, and Connor Zilisch is a freshman pledging to be accepted, and all of the racing gods and drivers are hazing him until he earns their respect. But regardless, we are now at the 1/3 mark of the year. We take a break from points racing where we run for $1 million in Dover. In this race, everyone wrecked, but somehow not Connor Zilisch. He managed to finish 5th, getting technically his first top 5 on the year, but it doesn't actually get counted because it's a non-points race. But despite that, maybe these next few races you can build upon this positive momentum and finally get the ship pointed in the right direction. But the exact opposite will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the worst 3-race stretch in NASCAR history.
We got a car in the wall, turn 2. Big contact right there. Connor Zilisch. Front rotor explodes right here as he gets to the end of the front straightaway, and he's just along for the ride at that point. And Steve, we were talking off camera about how this happens. Oh, we got a spin. The 88.
Already, yeah, Connor
around.
Zilisch.
Contact. Man.
3rd straight week he's had a problem early in the race.
How? Already? How?
Oh, we got another car spinning around. Oh, yep, going around down the back straightaway.
Zilisch again.
Oh, man. It's going to make contact with the inside wall here.
At the conclusion of his day in Michigan, Connor delivers a very depressing interview.
How hard were you fighting the race car?
Yeah, I was really loose, but yeah, it's just unfortunate. Another short race for us. But yeah, thank you to WeatherTech for being a part of it. We'll go try and get him at Pocono next week.
You can tell that he is broken. He is a man doing the same task over and over again, trying it in different ways, but gets the exact same result, which could drive anyone mad. Next week at Pocono, he does spin out, but he does finish in 23rd. And another road course opportunity at San Diego looked very promising, even becoming the first teenager to ever lead a road course race before getting annihilated by Austin Hill on a restart. Well, with all this data and track time, we need to take a big step and ask, why is Connor Zilisch so bad? Although Connor has driven a whole bunch of different vehicles in his life, he's been pretty accustomed to NASCAR for quite a few years now. When he made the jump up to Cup this year, it was year number 5 of the 7th gen race car. And this car is completely different from any other stock car he has ever driven. Wider tires, sequential gearbox, spec cars, moved door numbers, etc. It is the biggest shakeup from any generation of car ever. But as a result of these changes, the driving style required is completely altered. Every stock car ever made required you to hang it out on the right rear to get the most amount of speed. But with the Gen 7, you really have to lean into the right front in order to go the fastest. This change has caused many drivers to rethink how they drive a race car, and for a 19-year-old like Connor, this is such a huge culture shock that has really thrown him for a massive loop. Speaking of the cars, this leads us into the next point about the team he is driving for, Trackhouse Racing. With the Gen 7, this leveled the playing field, allowing more teams to enjoy the spoils of success. From the jump of the gun, Trackhouse Racing had the biggest leap forward of any team. The cars definitely helped them, but the real reason why they jumped up so much was that they had the inside scoop. In the prior years of 2019 to 2021, NASCAR worked with Richard Childress Racing to help test and develop the car, who Trackhouse has a huge technical alliance with, along with getting their engines provided from them. As a result, both of the teams shined in 2022, with all of their cars getting into the playoffs, and fellow Trackhouse teammate Ross Chastain came about 300 feet away from winning a title. However, once other teams began to figure out this car, both the teams went downhill, being reflected in their results. In 2026, Trackhouse still gets major support from RCR, where as of this video, their drivers in points are Shane Van Gisbergen, who sits 14th, Ross Chastain, who is 22nd, and Connor Zilisch, who's currently 34th in points. The last major pillar of Connor's struggles seems to be obvious, but needs a bit of an explanation, this being his lack of experience. Ever since he got into racing, he has been racing against competition that can barely stack up to him, but now that he is racing alongside the big boys in the Cup Series, he is getting absolutely obliterated by the competition. He's been so good that he's progressed through the ranks so young, so fast, that everyone just expects him to make the jump into the Cup Series and start running good there. But that's just not the case when you join a series so full of experience, and 99 times out of 100, experience beats raw talent, and sadly Connor is not the one. The only person that has ever done that was Jeff Gordon, who caused this youth movement and put us in this situation in the first place. And I think now we have found the youngest we could possibly go. Overall, this begs the question, is Connor Zilisch doomed to be the worst rookie in NASCAR history? No. While at this rate, he statistically would be the worst, but if you paid attention all this time throughout his career, he has the speed and the talent to be an incredible race car driver, especially in NASCAR. Again, just look at his resume. He just needs time. More time behind the wheel and more time within the culture of NASCAR. Hell, while I was recording this video, Connor Zilisch got a top 10 at Sonoma, getting his career best finish of 7th place. It sounds weird, but I want this video to age so badly. I and the rest of NASCAR want to see him do great things. But barring the world collapsing, Connor will get better with more seat time. But like many great things, we need to just have patience and wait.
Oh, we got a car sideways down the back straightaway. 2 cars spinning.
Wasting no time. Ryan Preece comes in right
wall. We got a car
at the chase bubble.
Oh, come on.